whether you're talking about hobbyists, and they've been flying these things for a long time, or the more commercial aspects of this, things are definitely changing at a very, very rapid pace. Now, Aldrin Estacio has been in here before, an aerial photographer. David Cain is actually with the Air Law Institute. David, let me start with you real quickly. You've got a symposium coming up here, and I thought you'd have some hobbyists there and you know, some fun folks that wanted to know how high they can fly these and where the restricted zones were. I was way off.
Oh, that's okay. We've brought together the leaders of the aerospace industry, both from the legal side, the engineering side, and business. And we gather once a year in San Diego because the weather's perfect. And we look at those regulatory issues that are at the forefront of aviation. Right now, that's obviously unmanned aircraft. But this group will look at small unmanned aircraft like these, but they're going to look at large integration as well. Companies like Northrop Grumman, General Atomics, Airbus.
Well, let me get Aldrin in here on the conversation for just a second. Just since the last time you were here, which is just like a few weeks ago, it looks like the technology has jumped up again. I'm looking at this this picture that you're getting on a laptop here, basically, that's coming from this particular aircraft.
Yeah.
It is stunning. I mean, I don't know if we can get picture-in-picture, if that just freaks everything out if we do that, but you might want to see if you can just get a shot of that without the reflection on it. And probably not. It's probably going to get, oh, there we go. Let me tilt it a little farther. Okay, how about now? And we broke it. Okay, perfect. Well, anyway, the point is, the technology is improving so unbelievably quickly here. I'm not even sure how you keep up.
It is hard. I mean, the technology does move a lot, so you kind of have to stay with it just so that you can have a little bit of the edge depending on what you're trying to do with the craft itself.
And what are you actually doing with it commercially right now?
So right now I'm a big-time landscape or just an event photographer. So this being able to take it above and beyond, kind of get a lot of the areas that you normally get a different perspective of.
Who's hiring you now? Real estate agents, landscape architects? You doing weddings? I mean, what are we doing?
I do a lot of it for myself. I've definitely been approached, but at the same time, I'm trying to just worry about my craft right now, which is I want to go out there and shoot the beautiful San Diego, weather that we have.
All right, so David, is this the guy that you're talking about in this symposium, or is it much bigger aircraft than this?
Both. So we're very focused on this type of work because the FAA is taking actions right now with notices for proposed rulemaking. So you're doing the right thing, which is staying right on front of both the technology and the legal aspects, because once the legal doors are open, this industry is going to take off to the tune of maybe $100 billion over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, at first, I kind of went, oh, now come on, yeah, they'll take some aerial photographs, but that whole thing with the Amazon or whoever wants to deliver packages, that's probably never going to happen. I might have been wrong.
I think it's going to happen, but it's going to happen methodically. So the big stable aerospace companies have been working on this problem for a decade. The new players to the market need to move as carefully as the big companies are moving, and I think you're going to see dramatic change over the next decade that you can't even identify now.
What's the biggest single concern right now, and legally, that you'll be dealing with?
It's always safety. So we look at the legal aspect starting with the FAA's charter, which is safety. So they're securing both the flying public and the flown over public. We see more of the flown over public impacted by this small craft, and we want to make sure that we protect them as well as the aircraft and the people flying in aircraft.
Okay, and so as this goes on, what's the biggest thing that you can see? I've got so much problems clearing my throat this morning. I'm just going to have to do it on the air. There we go. Much better. And I apologize for that, but 5 hours on the air, it's going to happen. What's the biggest aircraft that you fly right now?
This one right here, which is actually, I used to fly the smaller DJI Phantom with a GoPro. Now I moved up to the Inspire, which now has a built-in 4K camera, as well as it's on a gimbal, so it keeps it balanced.
Okay, so this is the biggest thing you're flying right now, but what's coming down the road for you?
Ideally, I want to stay around this size. There are bigger rigs, like the one we brought last time, that can hold DSLR cameras and big red cameras and almost full size. That's just for what I do. I like to be portable. So I guess if I were to be eventually in a commercial style shooting, I'd move up to those rigs. But for what I like to do, I like to stay with these, fit nice in the back of the car.
So what has to happen in order for a company like Amazon to actually get into business and actually deliver packages? Because at that point, we wouldn't be talking about a few dozen hobbyists out there at a particular time. We could be talking about hundreds of these aircraft out there do they have to establish a flight path for them and a distinct lane for them to stay in the skies? Or?
That's one of the many options that the regulators are looking at. And I think Amazon Prime has to continue doing what they're doing, which is focus on the safety and work hand in hand with the FAA. As soon as you start saying, oh, we're just going to go do it,
right,
that's when you're really going to get in trouble. So I think the focus is really staying with the FAA and working hand in hand as a partner with
now,
the FAA.
Is the technology being built into these things now so that we can have people not be able to fly over certain areas to where GPS-wise they can actually restrict them from flying into a particular area?
Did something happen to camera 6?
The technology is so advanced that anything you can imagine, the technologists can make happen. So if that's the way the regulators want to move, I'm absolutely certain the engineering folks can get that done.
Okay. Hey, we're going to get a little demonstration here. Go ahead and just show us how this thing works and how easy it is to get this thing airborne.
Mark, if you want to take a look at this side.
Okay, of course, what we're looking at is you're looking at a picture of our photographer getting that picture right there, and your picture, quite frankly, is more clear than the one on my monitor over there.
Yeah, so this is exactly what the technology is moving. You can actually click and move stuff around too. You can move the camera around if I wanted to. So that's exactly what we get with this.
Well, it's amazing stuff. How long can that stay airborne?
This particular one, safely about 12 to 15 minutes.
What happens when you run out of juice?
The good thing with the technology now is that it'll determine how far you are away from the remote or from your home point, and if it ends up disconnecting, it'll actually return back to home.
Ah, just amazing. Well, like you said, David, just about if you can imagine it at this point, it's coming down the road. What's the next thing that you think has to happen, though, in order for things to stay safe and to continue to progress?
I think the FAA needs to continue with the next logical step, and we're now in an open comment period for a notice of proposed rulemaking. And that means that folks who have an interest, stakeholders like this gentleman, can say, all right, well, we think it should do this and this. But the FAA has to continue to work methodically through this problem, just like the engineering problem it is.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.